Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the AUD podcast channel. I'm your host Khalid Abdul Jubain. We are honored to have Miss Sally Moussa Hajjar as our guest on the show today. Sally is a media veteran with over 20 years of experience working for the region's largest broadcast networks. She is currently the Managing Director of Humanagement and along with her husband Hadi have built the region's leading agency in innovative marketing and media solutions, representing some of the region's highest ranking celebrities and digital content creators. In this episode, you'll learn the truth about the entertainment industry, the key factors in building trust, the importance of honest communication, and the differences between influencers and celebrities. Please join me in welcoming to the show Miss Sally Moussa Hajjar.
Hi Khalid, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for your time and for coming back to AUD to be on the
show. Oh my God,
show.
I love it. Every time I walk into the campus, it just brings back so many beautiful memories. It feels good. I should come here every morning.
It's kind of like closing that loop, you know?
To kickstart my day in a very positive way.
So Sally, you studied here for undergrad and then came back for master's?
No, actually, I had my undergrad done in Lebanon.
Okay.
And I went into the workforce.
Okay.
And then 14 years later, I came to AUD to do my master's.
Okay, I'm curious because that's quite a gap. So what was the reason you're like, I want to do a master's, and what did it give you after now reflecting on it?
Actually, master's has been on my bucket list ever since I was an undergrad.
Oh, wow.
However, I'm someone who started working since I was 16 years old. And I remember back when I was pursuing my BA, I got a job opportunity while I was in my last semester back at university in Lebanon. And then just life kind of took me. I started working professionally, and then, I had a career all of a sudden, and I grew in my career, and I kept getting up the ranks. And I just was so busy, I guess, building up my profession to the point where I totally put my master's dream on a side up until I moved to Dubai around, I don't know, 10 years ago, I guess. And then I met a few amazing people who work here at AUD. I met Suha Sharbil, who I want to say a big hi to because she played an amazing role.
Shout out.
And big shout out, because she brought me back to university and she kind of woke up that dream of mine again. And Sophie Boutros, who was also a driving force behind it. And I just jumped into it. I've always been a keen learner.
Okay.
And I believe that learning never ever stops. When you stop learning, you stop growing. As simple as that. And even though I had with me about 14, 15 years of knowledge in the workplace, to answer the second part of your question, coming back to the university, it just opened up my mind in a way that I have never ever expected it. Even though some of the things I already knew because I have this long experience. However, to be in that pool of people from different ages, it's fair to say I was kind of older than most of the people in my class. There were also people from my age who also had the same experience. So kind of to be open and exposed to these different kinds of mindset, the younger generation, my generation, professors who were amazing, who were brought up from all over the world, to kind of also give us from their experience. We had professors who had, great and big successful careers in the media industry in the US, professors who came from all over the world to teach us. It honestly gave me a lot. And I felt no matter how much I knew, there was so much more that I learned coming back to university.
It's very interesting because my philosophy is kind of different. So when I graduate, I'm similar to you. I love learning. Every day I have a morning routine. I read. I'm obsessed with that. Yeah. But I never enjoyed learning in an academic setting. So that's why when I graduated from university, I'm master's, PhD, all that to further down an academic career was not interesting to me. I always wanted real world experience instead because I thought that would just be so much more valuable. So it's interesting to speak to someone like you who had 14 years of career experience, to still have that desire to have that next academic level. Did you learn something in the masters that you think you could have never learned without doing it?
I guess it's more about, I learned to be open to different perspectives, because when you are stuck in a profession for 14 years, you kind of get also stuck in your own ways.
I can imagine
your
that.
Own kind of way of thinking and
Sure.
seeing things. I could have never like refreshed my vision, my sight, how I perceived everything around me, especially in the marketplace and the new ways of dealing with the media, had I not came here. That I'll tell you for sure.
Interesting. So, and I guess I get where you're coming from, because if you've been in a career for so long, it is natural as people, if we don't have change, we do get stuck in a certain type of thinking. But so entertainment, you've been in it for over, 20 years.
For as long as I can remember.
So I want to start by just understanding, where does that passion for that industry come from? Was it something you always wanted to do, or was it something that just you kind of fell into and you loved it?
I believe that people are born with certain like presets built in them. And for as long as I remember, Khalid, like going back, my earliest memories were when I was a child. I was like maybe 9, 10 years old. I can remember it so vividly. I loved television and magazines so much that I remember I used to come back home, and I had my geography and history lessons, and I needed to memorize them. Mm-hmm. So I was so in love with the world of TV that I used to pretend that I was a news anchor. I would sit on a table and on a chair with the table in front of me and the book, and I would look at the wall and just recite my history lesson, pretending that I was giving the news broadcast.
Yeah.
And like TV was always this magical world for me. And in a way, without me even knowing, I manifested this career for myself, because as I was telling you, during my last semester, I was studying international affairs and diplomacy. Mm-hmm. And in my last career, I had this opportunity. A cousin of mine, her fiance, was working at one of the biggest TV channels in the region. And she was like, hey, I was always a great student, by the way. So she knew that. She knew that I was excellent at academics. I was very organized. I was very meticulous. And she was like, my fiance, is looking for someone to be in the department and to have that role. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. And it just so happened that, the headquarters were like 20 minutes away from my campus. And then I started working there part-time after my classes. And that part-time job slowly became my long-term job. I was soon hired, on a full-time basis after I graduated, and slowly but surely I went up the ranks, and this career blew up, and I was getting ahead in it, and I was loving it. There was not one day in my life that I woke up and I felt like I didn't want to go to work. Every day was a new adventure.
That's very
for
special.
Me. I know, and it's like my calling, and I thank God every day that I did not go to into the diplomatic corps, as my studies, dictated that I should have, or worked. God forbid that I worked at an embassy, because I would surely would have been committing a career suicide. I was doing something that was a calling to me.
Yeah.
And I still do until this day. I love what I do.
Is it the freedom and creativity that, because with the work that you do now, it's kind of like, I come to you, I'm like, okay, hi Sally, I want your agency to, represent me. So now you have the freedom and creativity to okay, what's the best way to position Khalid? And every single person is different characters, different personalities. So is it that variety of the job, is that what really draws you in?
Yes, it's the everyday challenge to succeed. It's the everyday urge you get to be more creative ahead of everybody else in the market and come up with the next great idea or the next great, stunt for your talent, to push them forward, to create. The media world is one of the very very evolving fields. And the shifts that happen in the media world are so fast. And just that race, that adrenaline that you get out of the race to keep up with it every day is so exciting. I mean, you can see it in my eyes, right? I can see you looking at me and shaking your head like you understand this passion that comes out of me.
Absolutely.
My eyes shine through whenever I talk about what I do.
Yeah.
You know, just to give you a simple example, like media is so fast to the point, like, for example, that law cannot keep up with it. Like,
of course, yeah.
It is super fast. Like, just look at where we were 10 years ago when it comes to the media and where we are today. I mean, when I started working in media, it was very conventional. TV, ads, outdoors. Nowadays, it's just like everybody is like a walking, ad. And everybody has a platform, and you don't have, to go to the gatekeepers in the media industry to get your word or voice across. Like, you can open up your own channel or a page and just say and do whatever you want to say and do. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's kind of, I think you made a very good point about how it's evolved. It seems like the media today has kind of become more, there still is the traditional media, which is still powerful and relevant, and that's why it's still there. I've had conversations with people that we debate, will it be there in the future? And then they'll bring up the concept of like, we thought radio was going to go away like 20 years ago, but like it's still here. But like podcasts are now the evolution of radio.
Exactly.
The TikTokification of the world, taking long form, making it short. So it is always changing. The question is, and you made a good point, everyone now is their own like brand, is your kind of your own platform. So media today seems a lot more decentralized than it was before. Would you agree or disagree with that?
No, I totally agree.
Okay.
And I think just like everything else in life, it has its positives and its negatives.
Of course. Because
media is a very powerful tool, but with that power, there always should come a lot of responsibility. Like good and ethical media cannot exist without the people like behind it having a high sense of ethics and responsibility. However, I do believe that it is very powerful. And I wouldn't say, like you mentioned that, mainstream media is still very powerful, but I would say like unconventional media today, the new media, is much, much more powerful. Because mainstream media is always, stirred by politics and agendas and certain viewpoints. But like if you want to look at what's happening in Gaza today, the people would have never, ever known the truth had this happened like 10 years ago. The mainstream media would have shown you what they wanted to be shown according to their political agenda. But now, like, social media has given us this freedom to showcase and raise our voices. These voices that were for the longest time in history wide shut by the traditional media.
Sure. And I think you made a good point about how not only does everyone have a voice, you mentioned it earlier in the conversation, now through social media, you have the ability to get lots of different perspectives at once. Now, the onus is on you to go and like search for a different perspective, because, it's just like with traditional media, we could also be boxed into a certain social channel or social narrative. But coming back to the entertainment industry in particular, now, as someone from the outside, I know nothing about the entertainment industry. And it's all from my perspective, it's all just very, there's no, from the outside, I don't see much depth in it, you know what I mean? But maybe that's just a misconception I have. But you've been in the industry for a very long time. So could you share with us some of the misconceptions that someone like me who is just, an outsider would have about the industry? Because I'm sure it's not all glitz and glamour and fun all the time.
I'll just tell you one thing. In the world of academics or in the outside world, the best way to get your message across or to teach somebody something is through a concept that I'm sure you're familiar with. It's called infotainment.
Yes.
It's bringing together the information that you want to relay with and putting it in an entertainment kind of
vehicle.
Exactly. So entertainment in that sense is super, super interesting and super influential. I mean, just look at, if we want to look at the music industry, I'll speak about music because music is something that everybody understands, everybody can relate to. Any kind of message that you want to relay, you can put it in a song, push that song, make it popular, and just put a seed in people's heads while they just sing it along, right? Revolutions have been led through music.
True.
The society has changed 20 years ago from now through music. So in that sense, entertainment is super influential. It's more influential than you would ever think. I mean, just a second ago, we were talking about the influence of social media and the influence of televisions. Mm-hmm. Honestly, entertainment can shape perspectives and cultures and societies. This is to say the least. It is the most powerful tool for influencing people.
I think I like how you brought music into it because that is probably one of the most, how can I say this? Like it bypasses like my logical like thinking. If a song is good, then I like, there's a vibe to it. Everyone will sing along despite that they might be actually talking about very serious things, in the song. But you're right, it does maybe plant the seed and start to shape the narrative. Yeah. So you've been working with, I know, celebrities for a very long time. And you said something about celebrities need people they can trust. Okay.
Definitely.
Now, I can understand, if I'm imagining myself as a celebrity, I imagine my lack of trust would come from a place of insecurity because I don't know, do you genuinely like me as a person, or is it my platform, or do you want something from me? So my question to you is, and you've been doing it for a long time. Okay, 2 questions. First of all, how do you build that trust? Yeah. And second, how do you know when you have it?
Okay, so celebrities, it's not about insecurities. It's about, given their celebrity status, they feel like, and rightfully feel, that everybody wants something from them.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? So in that sense, it's very hard to break through and gain their trust. Now, how do you gain it, to answer your first question? It's a matter of, first, a know-how. You should know how to approach, how to deal, how to treat a celebrity, because they are very special talents. I mean, an actor who has built a career over 20 years, living like 19 years out of them on sets, shooting 20 hours a day, is someone who has earned their celebrity status. They have worked hard, as much as a CEO who has, built a company from the ground up. So you need to know how to treat these people. And most of all, it's about the long run. Now, I can speak about our agency.
Sure.
Because my husband and I, and of course our partner, who we have been in the entertainment industry for about 20 years. So most of the celebrities that we work with in the region are celebrities that know us from 20 years. We have built our credibility towards them. They know how they treat us. When we bring them into a job, they know that this is going to be done in the most professional way possible. So it's about, building that trust over a long period of time, because trust is not earned immediately.
For sure.
And then now, because we have been dealing with Hollywood celebrities for the past 10 years or so, the credibility that you build in the region, it gives you a platform. So when you approach, an international celebrity, they know. They look at your portfolio and they were like, oh, wow, you did this, you did that. And you start networking with their entourage, because approaching a celebrity in the West is nothing like here. True. Here, if you know someone who knows someone, they just pull up. There, it's a much more complicated process. There are agents, there are publicists,